معنا خط بكتابك الترحيب لو صار ليلك وجنة بالدجا في الليل تسري.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. إنه من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله تعالى، وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، كل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. أما بعد, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, today is our weekly class, the fundamentals of Tawheed. And we are talking about the prophecies, and the prophecy which we are expounding upon is the prophecy about the strangeness of the deen. So we talked about the strangeness of the deen, the strangers, the role models of the strangers, and now how one can make himself remain treading on the path of the strangers. So what are the factors? What are the things that will help one of us? Because we are living in this second phase of the strangeness of Islam. So among these factors, inshallah, by Allah's grace, which will help, the patience that we covered, the sabr. Sabr is the most important thing. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu isbiru wasabiru. Isbiru wasabiru. Or you believe, be patient and defeat your enemies in the field of patience. You should have more patience than your enemies. Sabiru, sabir. So the sabr. Jannah, without sabr, no one can enter it. So we need to work on ourselves and develop this noble quality of patience. Comes after that, the taqwa, fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Each one of us should have something like a shield, like a buffer zone, which will ward off Allah's anger and wrath. So we have to make wiqayah. So what are the things that will ward off Allah's anger? Righteous deeds and the fear of Allah. Also, we are recapping, okay? We cover these things. Each one of us should instill in his heart and her heart that he's going to be tested. There's no way to avoid it. Because life is a test, and the believers will be tested. So don't think that you will have a life like bed of roses or milk and honey. No, it's not like that. Life is full of hardships. The life of the stranger, the practicing Muslim and Muslim. So we have to prepare ourselves psychologically that this is the path, and this is how we have to bring up our children from the beginning. Life is a test. Don't expect life to be very comfy and very comfortable. No, it's not like that. We are not supposed to have this cozy atmosphere here in the dunya. No, it is our prison. The dunya is our prison. الدنيا جنة الكافر وسجن المؤمن. So the dunya is the Jannah, is paradise. For us, no. For the disbelievers, they enjoy this life. Okay. They know no limits. Whatever their whims and desires dictate, they do. But for us, no. We cannot follow our whims and desires. قد أفلح من زكاها وقد خاب من دساها. قد أفلح, indeed he succeeded. Who is he? Who purifies this nafs, controls it, keeps it under his thumb. His nafs or her nafs tells her or him, do this, no, it's haram. Look at this, no, lower your gaze. Talk, say this, no, that's backbiting, that's slandering. So this is the one who purifies himself, purifies this nafs. وَقَدْ خَابَ, indeed, is in great loss. He lost himself. Khaba, man dassaha, the one who corrupts it, who corrupts this nafs. How do you corrupt the nafs? By obeying it. Whatever your nafs tells you, you do it. That's how you corrupt this nafs. Sayyidina Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu, one day, he saw one of his children, I think maybe Abdullah or somebody, another one, making barbecue. Said, what is this? He said, اشتهته نفسي. Okay, this is meat, barbecue. My nafs is longing to have this meat. I haven't tasted it for a long time. اشتهته نفسي. What did Sayyidina Umar say? Did Sayyidina Umar tell him it's haram? No. He told him, وَكُلَّمَا اشْتَهَتْ نَفْسَكَ شَيْئًا فَعَلْتَ. Every time your nafs tells you and aspires and desires something, you do it? No. You need to control this nafs. You control it. But if you, every time it tells you do this, you do it, then you become a slave for this nafs. You should train yourself to be able to overcome your nafs. And you don't surrender to whatever your nafs tells you. Because Sayyidina Umar, he wanted to teach his son, this life is not for just enjoyment and fun and pleasures of this worldly. No, we have there. Our real life is the next one. So we need to keep this nafs under control. Under control. But if we let it loose, it will lead us to destruction. Because this nafs is our enemy. And it cooperates and works together hand in hand with the shaitan. إن النفس لأمارة بالسوء. Indeed, the nafs inspires and dictates a person to commit evil deeds. So we have to prepare ourselves that life is a test and we are going to be tested. And people's tests will vary according the intensity of the test and the graveness of the test and the severity of the test will vary according to the iman of each one of us. That we already covered in the previous sessions. Let us proceed. Another factor, my dear brothers and sisters, or hint, or tip, whatever you want to call it, each one of us should keep it in his memory and should keep recalling the evil consequences of sinning. The evil consequences of sinning. Because a sin, the product of it is evil fruit. And the consequences are so dreadful, so dreadful. Sinning kills the heart. Every sin one of us commits, a black spot is placed on the heart until this heart becomes totally black because of the sins. Subhana Rabbil Azim. Subhana Rabbil Azim. You know the black stone, Al-Hajar Al-Aswad in Haram, in Makkah, in the Kaaba. It became black because of the sins of mankind. This black stone was not black, it was white, as the Prophet ﷺ mentioned. This stone came from the Jannah, but turned black because of the sins of the mushriks. A stone turned black. How about an organ, flesh? It will turn black. So we see live example in front of our eyes. And these sins, they form a seal on the heart, the ran. So we should not treat our sins, my dear brothers and sisters, lightly. Should not. Should not. And when one of us sins, he should immediately, he or she, after that, do something good. وَأَتْبِعُ السَّيِّئَةَ الْحَسَنَةَ تَمْحُهَا. Okay. You saw something haram, make istighfar after that. You backbit someone, make istighfar and dua for that person. So always, if you do something good after it. So we should not treat our sins lightly. And we should always engage ourselves in the istighfar. ربي إني ظلمت نفسي ظلما فاغفر لي فإنه لا يغفر الذنوب إلا أنت. استغفر الله وأتوب. Keep always yourself engaged in the istighfar. If the Prophet ﷺ, they counted for him more than 70 times, asking Allah forgiveness. How about us? How about us? So we have to keep in mind always that sinning is horrible. Falling into this mire of sins will destroy the sinner. So we should be aware that we are human beings. We will sin, we will commit sins, because we are not angels, we are not invaluable, we are not perfect. But we have to come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we should fear sinning. So this is very important, that we should always fear sinning and should always remember the evil consequences of sinning. Now let's just go through some ayat where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about what happened to those who committed sin. Allah mentioned in Surah Hud, ayah 77 to 82. This describing what happened to the people of Lut alayhi salam. وَلَمَّا جَاءَتْ رُسُلُنَا لُوطًا سِيءَ بِهِمْ وضاق بهم ذرعا وقال هذا يوم عصيب. لا إله إلا الله. When our messenger angels came to Lot, he was distressed and worried about their arrival. He said, "This is a terrible day." Because as you know, the people of Lot, whom Allah destroyed, were sodomites. Maybe you don't know this word, sodomite. Gays. Okay. But that is the proper name for them, sodomites. Not gay, because the word gay means happy. So they replaced it with the word gay. So they were practicing this shameful deed. And his people told him, "Lut, don't receive anyone in your home. If you receive any men in your house, guests, you know what will happen to them." So now angels came in the form of human beings. So now he's worried because he knows what such people are going to do. فَلَمَّا جَاءَتْ رُسُلُنَا لُوطًا, when our messenger angels, he didn't recognize, he didn't know that they were angels, came to Lot, to Lut alayhi salam. سِيءَ بِهِمْ. He became so distressed, so worried, distressed and worried by their arrival. What to do? That's why he said, وَقَالَ هَذَا يَوْمٌ عَصِيبٌ. This is a terrible day. How can I manage to protect my guests? Immediately, see the sickness? That means Lut alayhi salam was under supervision. They are watching him. Okay. There are eyes everywhere, spies everywhere to report Did anyone come to Lut alayhi salam? So the news reached them. So they came running. وجاءه قومه يهرعون إليه ومن قبل كانوا يعملون السيئات. قال يا قوم هؤلاء بناتي هن أطهر لكم فاتقوا الله ولا تخزوني في ضيفي أليس منكم رجل رشيد. سبحان ربي العظيم. And the men of his people who were used to shameful deeds, practicing sodomy, homosexuality. They were homosexuals. They were sodomites who were used to shameful deeds, came to him rushing, as if this is feast. وَجَاءَهُ قَوْمُهُ يُهْرَعُونَ إِلَيْهِ. He pleaded, he appealed to them, he pleaded, oh my people, here are my daughters for marriage. Daughters means the girls of his people, not his own daughters, because all the daughters of his people are his daughters. Here are my daughters for marriage. They are pure for you, pure for you. So fear Allah and do not humiliate me by disrespecting my guests. Is there not even a single right-minded man among you? La ilaha illallah. Let us reflect. Indeed, there was no right-minded man among them. And today, there are no more right-minded men among many. Okay? Just yesterday, I read on the net some of those not right-minded men said, every time we meet, he's talking about Muslims, the first item in our agenda, the rights of the Sodomites. That's what we discuss. Always we emphasize upon the rights of the Sodomites. Just reflect in this ayah. See the Quran, mashallah, tabarakallah. Beautiful. Allah talks. The problem that we don't reflect on the speech of Allah. Visualize now the scene. وَجَاءَهُ قَوْمُهُ يُهْرَعُونَ. His people came rushing. See the expression, يُهْرَعُونَ. And Allah used the present tense, فعل مضارع, which means the action is going on. There is activity. يهرعون إليه, rushing to him. ومن قبل, okay, they have this bad habit. were used, كانوا يعملون السيئات, were used to shameful deeds. Allah called these dirty practices سيئات, shameful deeds. كانوا يعملون السيئات. Now, Lut alayhi salam is appealing to them, pleading to them, begging them, asking them. قال يا قوم, oh my people, هؤلاء بناتي. What's wrong with you guys? What's the problem? You like men. You lust for men. This is when a person becomes perverted. Allah made a man to have inclination towards the opposite sex, not the same sex. زين للناس حب الشهوات من النساء والبنين, etc. So Allah embedded, implanted, instilled in us, inside, these natural affinity, tendency, inclination towards the opposite sex. That's why every man likes a woman. Every man feels when he's for the opposite sex. Any man, unless there is a problem with it. Okay. But any man, he feels. That's why the weakness of men, women. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ said, there's no fitna, okay, which I fear most from my men than women. ما تركت فتنة أشد على رجال أمتي من النساء. This is the greatest fitna for men, women. Women. By just smiling, you thaw like, piece of ice, like butter. By smile or blink of her eye. They have this powerful soul, and they know how to use these things. These are their weapons. So to have this tendency and inclination and feeling for the opposite sex, that's natural. But to have feeling for the opposite sex, a man for a man, a woman for a woman, something went wrong with you. Something went wrong. This is not normal. قال يا قومي, oh my people, هؤلاء بناتي. Here are my daughters. Marry them. Have clean relationship. For established families. Okay. That's why in Islam it is prohibited. The one who, if he has anal sex with his wife, he is cursed by Allah. In another narration, فَقَدْ كَفَرَ, he disbelieved. He disbelieved. Because what Allah created for the man is the normal place, the place of the telling. When Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab came to the Prophet ﷺ, he said to him, لَقَدْ غَيَّرْتُ رَحْلِيَ الْبَارِحَةِ. Okay, because there was rumor, widespread in Medina. If a man approaches his spouse to fulfill his biological needs in a way different from the normal way or the known way, then, and of course in the proper place, then, and she conceives, she will give a child who is cockeyed. So that was the rumor. The Ansar, the Sahaba, Muhajirin who came from Makkah, they would fulfill their biological needs in different positions, in the proper place, in the place of the telling. Sayyidina Umar, he married a woman from among the Ansar, and he changed his position. And now then he got worried. Maybe because his wife told him, no, we should not sleep in this way. So he came to the Prophet ﷺ, and he said, لَقَدْ غَيَّرْتُ رَحْلِيَ الْبَارِحَةِ. I have changed the saddle of my mount. The Prophet ﷺ, he knew what he meant. He kept quiet. Now, the answer to that question and inquiry by Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu came from Allah. Allah sent down, نساؤكم حرث لكم. نساؤكم حرث لكم. فأتوا حرثكم أن شئتم وقدموا لأنفسكم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down, نساؤكم, your women are your telly. So approach your telly in whatever way you want. Whatever way. Everything is halal for you. وَقَدِّمُوا لَأَنفُسِكُمْ, and forward something before the intimacy. So the scholars, they say the dua, they say the dua, and also they say foreplay. So فَأْتُوا حَرْثَكُمْ أَنَّ شِئْتُمْ, in whatever manner. أَنَّ means كَيْفَمَا, in the manner. Doesn't mean أَيْنَمَا, whatever you want, the place. No, it talks about the manner. So that's why the Prophet ﷺ explained it. He said, in whatever way, and avoid anal sex. So this is clear in Islam, prohibited. So here, Sayyidina Lut alayhi salam is telling his people, قال يا قوم هؤلاء بناتي, marry women. But this is the proper way. This is how, where you put your seeds so that you will have children. هؤلاء بناتي هن أطهر لكم. They are pure for you. They are pure for you. This is the natural way. فاتقوا الله. فاتقوا الله ولا تخزوني في ضيفي. So fear Allah and do not humiliate me by disrespecting my guests. After he said that, then he told them, أليس منكم رجل رشيد? Is there not even a single right-minded man among you? A real man who can think, a man who has natural disposition, a man who has fitrah, his natural disposition is still clean. أليس منكم رجل رشيد? See the conversation is going on. What they said? قالوا لقد علمت ما لنا في بناتك من حق وإنك لتعلم ما نريد. They argued, you certainly know that we have no need for your daughters. You already know what we desire. La ilaha illallah. No shame, no shame. Like today, we see no shame. No shame. قالوا لقد علمت. Why you are offering your daughters. You know what we look for? We have no feelings for women. We don't feel for women. Imagine when a human being becomes like that. He's worse than the animal. Animals, they don't behave like that. Male goes for the female. La ilaha illallah. You know, the advocates for this perverted attitude and behavior to support their argument, they would say there are studies showed that animals do it. Animals. Imagine a human being now, his role model, his examples are the animals. Animals are doing this, so we have to do like animals. So صدق الله أولئك كالأنعام بل هم أضل. Allah said, indeed, they are like the cattle. Those كالأنعام, they are like the cattle. Indeed, worse than the cattle. So when you become worse than the cattle, what do you expect? Destruction, no doubt. Destruction. قالوا لقد علمت ما لنا في بناتك من حق وإنك لتعلم ما نريد. You know what we want. And we have no inclination, we have no desire, we have no need for your daughters. You already know what we desire. Lord said, عليه السلام, قال لو أن لي بكم قوة أو آوي إلى ركن شديد. He responded, Lut عليه السلام, if only I had the strength to resist you or could rely on a strong supporter. So now, this is the situation that our Prophet Lut عليه السلام was in. قال لو أن لي بكم قوة. He responded, if only I had the strength to resist you, I wish I have that strength. أو آوي إلى ركن شديد, or could rely on a strong supporter. Because this is an embarrassing situation. They said to him, his people, see the flow of the conversation. Now, the angels spoke because they are seeing what is going on. قالوا يا لوط إنا رسل ربك لن يصلوا إليك فأسر بأهلك بقطع من الليل ولا يلتفت منكم أحد إلا امرأتك إنه مصيبها ما أصابهم إن موعدهم الصبح أليس الصبح بقريب. The angels said, O Lot, we are the messengers of your Lord. They will never reach you. They will never reach you. So travel with your family in the dark of night and do not let any one of you look back, except your wife. She will certainly suffer the fate of the others. Their appointed time is the morning. Is the morning not near? Allahu Akbar. So here the angels, they spoke. قالوا يا لوط. Because until that very moment, Lut alayhi salam was thinking they were human beings. And see, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He sent them in the human form to expose, Allahu Akbar, to expose the reality of the people of Lut. Because He's going to destroy them. So He wants us, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wanted us to know and learn the lesson. So He sent them in form of human being so that the people of Lut will come and they will be exposed. So now when they are punished, everyone will say they deserve it. They deserve it. قالوا يا لوط إنا رسول ربك يصل إليك. Don't worry. They are messengers of your Lord. We are not human beings. We are angels. فأسري بأهلك بقطع. Okay. So Shara Yashri means to go, travel by night. سبحان الذي أسرى بعبده ليلا من المسجد الحرام إلى المسجد الأقصى. So Allah took His Prophet, as you know, night journey. So فأسري بأهلك. So take your family at night. So no one will see them. بقطع من الليل ولا يلتفت منكم أحد. No one should look back. Why? Because Allah is going to destroy the whole city of Sodom. Sodom. That's the name of the city of Lut. Sodom. And that's why the name Sodomite is derived from that. ولا يلتفت منكم أحد إلا امرأتك. No one should look back, but your wife will look back and she will be destroyed with them. She will certainly suffer the fate of the others because she was the one who was helping the others to know and informing them, as the scholars mentioned in Tafsir. إنه مصيبها ما أصابهم. So whatever happens to them will happen to her. She will certainly suffer the same thing. المرء مع من أحب. The person will be always with those whom he loves. You love the sinners, you will be with the sinners. And you will face the same fate. What happens to them will happen to you. إنه مصيبها ما أصابهم. إن موعدهم الصبح. إن موعدهم الصبح. ليس الصبح بقريب. Their appointed time is the morning. When the day breaks, is the morning not near? Then Allah said, فلما جاء أمرنا جعلنا عاليها سافلها وأمطرنا عليهم حجارة من سجيل منضود. When our command came, we turned the cities upside down and rained down on them clustered stones of baked clay. Clustered stones of baked clay. فلما جاء أمرنا. Now, no excuse. Lut alayhi salam, he warned his people. He offered them the solution to marry women, to have clean marital relationship. They were stubborn. Okay. They lost sense of shame. They are publicizing their sins, disclosing them. They are not private sins anymore. So you see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, my dear brothers and sisters, He gives a person a respite, chance, so that perhaps he or she will come to his senses or her senses. Allah will not punish a person immediately when he or she commits a sin. Allah is forbearing, sabur, patient. He gives you time to come back, to repent. But if this person continues to transgress all boundaries, cross all boundaries, and now he's not only harming himself, he started to harm others. This is the problem when the sin becomes public, not private, because now it's going to harm the community. Because now the harm is transitive. It will harm others. So then Allah stops it. So when the fahisha, shameful deed, sodomy, lesbianism becomes rampant, public, then wait for the destruction. In the hadith, when the fahisha becomes so rampant, shameful deeds because so widespread publicly, then Allah will test the people with diseases that they were not known in their ancestors. Don't you see? What is the latest one? Huh? The monkeypox. What's the root cause behind it? Sodomites. But they're hushing it up. They're hushing it. No one to talk about it. And there are many diseases in the queue for them. Until people come back to their senses and stop it. فلما جاء أمرنا, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you a chance to come back. But you continue, then you bear the consequences. فلما جاء أمرنا, no command came. When our decree is passed, but Allah decreed is going to pass. فلما جاء أمرنا جعلنا عاليها سافلها. Allah sent Jibreel alayhi salam and to uproot the whole city, all these cities of Lut. And he carried all the cities on one of his wings, uprooted them, and he took the cities and flew with them. Ha! until the angels in the first heaven, they heard the cries of the roosters. Then he inverted it and turned it upside down. Excavations showed in this area around the Dead Sea, they found buildings are inverted. We turn the cities upside down. Okay, don't think that you are powerful. You are nothing. Our technology is nothing. One angel would finish us. One. Jibreel, the Prophet ﷺ, he saw him. When he spread one of his wings only, one of his wings, he covered the horizon. One. So Allah turned the cities upside down. And that's not enough. وَأَمْطَرْنَا عَلَيْهَا حِجَارَةً مِّن سِجِّيلٍ مَنْضُودٍ. Then Allah showered them and rained down on them. Hijara min sijil, clustered stones of baked clay. And finished them. Finished them. May Allah save our ummah from this evil, because they are targeting the Muslims. And they are forcing the Muslims to accept this shameful deeds. May Allah save our ummah, may Allah save our children, and may Allah save our families. Ameen. So, Tarbiyah, my dear brothers and sisters, work hard in your families, strengthen their iman, work hard on the children, make them fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, educate them, let them know what is right and what is wrong. So let them have this immunity, strengthen their immune system against the shubuhat, the doubts, which they will be exposed to in the schools, in the public sphere. A lot of doubts. So we need to educate them and instill the aqidah in their hearts and the iman. So when they come across a shubha, doubt, they smile. This is rubbish. And they know the answer, because they have been taught at home. Okay? This is what Allah said. And this is something unacceptable, irrational, ridiculous, silly. So he will not come from school and tells you, Daddy, Mommy, I have doubts about Islam. I have doubts about God, about Allah. You will never do that. Never do that. You know, there was a wave of atheism in the 70s among the Arabs, some Arab countries. because of the wave of communism, became communist, some Arab countries. And they were brainwashing the children. So one of the teachers in schools was brainwashing the children or reprogramming them. So he was telling them, you see, what is this blackboard? Good, because we can see it. This duster, good. This desk, good. This pen, this book, right? Because we can see these things, we can feel them. Then the conclusion, the things that we see, they exist. But the things that we don't see, they don't exist. Because we don't see them. So God, Allah, we don't see him. So he's not there. He doesn't exist. Where is he? Can you touch him? Can you see him? So that was the technique used. So one child, he said, sir, we don't see your mind. We don't see your aql. So you don't have mind, sir. According to your philosophy, according to your argument, anything we don't see, it's not there. So we cannot see your aql. Can you see your aql? Can you see your mind? No. Then you don't have aql, you don't have mind. Finished him. Where did this little boy get that answer? Where did he get it from? From home. From home. His parents taught him. So his immune system is so strong. So strong. So this shubha, this doubt could not penetrate his heart because he's protected. So you need to protect your children by educating them, explaining to them. So you need to protect them against the doubts, the shubuhat, by educating them, by teaching them the aqidah, instilling in their hearts the belief, and answering the doubts. So when they hear these doubts, which they are not new, they are so outdated, but they keep updating them. So they know this is rubbish, nonsense. And then you need to also prepare them to resist the desires, the shahawat. Shahawat. Lusts. Your son will go to high school. There's a nice girl next to him. And he's a teenager. Naturally, he will have feeling. He will feel. So if there is no iman to stop him from indulging into sinfulness, he will fall into the trap of the shaitan. The same thing. The daughter, the girl, especially if they are in public schools. Okay, there's a handsome boy next to her. So you will have feeling. So we need to build the iman. And Muslims, they should have their own schools, their own colleges, their own universities to protect the future generation. And if you are well off as a father, get your children married, even if they are still schooling. What's the problem? What are you spending the money for? Get them married. Because the marriage is the protection against falling into the trap of shahwa, desires. So we need to protect our children against the shubhat, doubts, by educating them and teaching them, and also against the shahawat, the desires. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect our children. May Allah protect our families. May Allah protect our ummah. Ameen. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us remain steadfast on this beautiful deen till we meet Allah and find Him pleased with all of us. Ameen. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala unite our ummah on the haqq, and may Allah unite our hearts on the haqq. And may Allah forgive us our faults and mistakes and ignorance. And may Allah reward all of you, my dear brothers and sisters, immensely for your patience and attendance. Barakallahu feekum, jazakumullahu khaira. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Ameen wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullahu khair, Sheikh, for today's lessons on fundamentals of Tawheed, episode 84, alhamdulillah. I just wanted to quickly mention that someone in the live chat was asking about how to find the other episodes. He was saying that some episodes are missing, so all of the episodes are on the Fundamentals of Tawheed playlist on the YouTube channel. If you go there, you will be able to find those episodes that you couldn't find. And that's it. The same goes for the Sunday sessions of the Matters of the Heart. If you go to the YouTube channel, you search up the Matters of the Heart playlist, you'll find it there with all of the episodes. Inshallah, if you need to watch them or rewatch, you can watch them there. I also wanted to say that if you're not in the WhatsApp group, text the Al-Fitrah phone number to join the WhatsApp group, where you can ask your questions for the upcoming Q&A session now, inshallah, or ask them in the live chat and someone will be able to send it through. Our first question is asking, I know that it is recommended to face the Qibla when making dua. At a sister's gathering at a masjid, a sister concluded the program by having everyone turn completely around and made a long dua with everyone raising their hands. Is this bid'ah?
No, it's not bid'ah. It's not bid'ah facing the Qibla when making dua. No, it's not bid'ah. No. Next.
Jazakumullahu khair. Our next question is asking, in one city in the West, apartments require that one's salary be 3 times the rent in order for you to rent the apartment, and most people don't make that amount since housing prices have doubled. Some have resorted to making fake pay stubs. What is the ruling on that in the case of necessity?
To make what?
They're saying fake pay stubs, so I think fake salaries.
Yeah, okay. This is my salary. No, you see, forgery or lying is not allowed. It's not allowed. No. Next.
Jazakumullahu khair. Our next question is asking, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Regarding the Qurbani, the question has a few questions. His first question is asking, how many Qurbanis should one give? Or how many times should one do Qurbani?
One Qurbani or one udhiyah or one sheep for the whole family, irrespective of the size of the family. Okay, so for every family, one sheep, okay, or a goat, or a 7th of a cow or a camel, because maybe 7 families come by a cow or camel, or one sheep or one goat. Yes, next.
Jazakumullahu khair. The next question is asking, is the reward bigger if you have to pay more if you're in expensive countries? So you have to pay more to offer the qurbani.
More what? More qurbani or more?
More money.
No. Okay. See, the if you are slaughtering it in your where you live, okay, you buy. No one is saying that you go for the most expensive. You buy, of course, if you want to buy some one sheep which is okay, fatter and has more meat than others, and that, of course, naturally the price will be more. That's fine. That's fine if you can afford that. But the average, the qurbani should be from the average for what you can afford, because not everyone can afford buying very, very expensive sheep or goats, etc. But there are conditions should be there, that it should not be weak, okay, or lean. It has to be fat, okay, and it has to be, if it is sheep 1 year, or if it is goat 6 months. So the age is very important. Then it should be free from defects, like the horn should not be broken more than 2/3. The ear is not cut or slit. It should not be limping. Okay. So there are conditions for the udhiyah. And then it should be slaughtered after the salah of the Eid. The one who intends to give the qurbani, and that is the head of the family, he should refrain from the first day of the Hijjah from clipping the nails or removing any hair, only the head of the family, until he slaughters the udhiyah. So these are the rulings related to the qurbani. And of course, the ruling of it is wajib, obligatory. It is obligatory. And this is the madhab of Imam Abu Hanifa, rahimahullah. And this is the strongest opinion. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever is able financially to buy the sacrifice and he didn't, then he should not come to our salah, should not attend the Eid prayer as a punishment for him. فَلَا يَقْرَبَنَّ مُصَلَّانَا. So the udhiyah is highly recommended, and it is mandatory and obligatory upon the one who can afford buying the udhiyah. The Prophet ﷺ, he sacrificed 2 sheep, 2 rams, okay, one for his families and one for his ummah, those who cannot afford it. That's what the Prophet ﷺ did. And they were castrated. The rams were castrated. So this means that a sheep that is castrated, the ram is castrated, the male, whether it is the billy goat or ram, and they are castrated, then it's okay. No problem with that. I hope this is clear to the questioner.
Jazakumullahu khair. The next question is asking if this qurbani can be offered for the deceased or for the dead.
No qurbani is for the deceased. Okay, what people do, that's not the sunnah. Not sunnah. Okay, the qurbani is for those who are alive, not the one who passed away. Okay, that is sadaqah. You want to make sadaqah, that's different, but it's not udhiyah. It's not udhiyah. Okay, and since we talked about it, how to distribute it, the ulama, they say you divide it into 3 lots, 1/3 for you, 1/3 for your relatives, and 1/3 for the poor. That's how you distribute it. Next.
Jazakum Allahu khair. And the final question regarding this topic is asking, how important is it to eat from the sacrificed animal yourself in comparison to donating it to poor countries?
The sunnah that you eat from it. You slaughter and eat from it. And that's what the Prophet ﷺ did. He prayed, then he came and he slaughtered the udhiyah, and he took the meat and said, cook this immediately, and he ate from it. Yes. Next.
Jazakum Allahu khair.
Yeah.
Our next question is asking, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. When you can openly see people who are doing haram, but if you point it out to remind them of the sin or remind them of the correct way, they say that only Allah should judge. Is it a duty of a Muslim to stop others from sinning or remind them of the act being sinful?
Of course, it is the duty of every Muslim. كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر وتؤمنون بالله. Allah made us the best nation. You're the best nation ever sent for mankind. تأمرون بالمعروف. These are the qualifications of this ummah. That's why Allah made us the best nation. تأمرون بالمعروف, you command what is right and forbid what is evil. And you believe in Allah. Okay, so if we don't enjoin what is right and forbid what is evil, Allah will destroy us. No doubt. But as long as we enjoin what is right and forbid what is evil, Allah's anger will be avoided. But if we don't enjoin what is right and forbid what is evil, then we are inviting calamities, we're inviting Allah's anger and wrath. Our mother Aisha radiallahu anha said to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, أنهلك وفينا الصالحون؟ قال نعم إذا كثر الخبث. What does it mean? He said, will we be perished, punished, while we have good people among us? He said, yes. إذا كثر الخبث, when immorality, corruption becomes widespread, Allah will destroy all, including those who are good. Because the khabath is increasing. The khabath, the corruption, will increase when people are not enjoining what is right and forbidding what is evil. So in Islam, it's not always mind your own business, no. It is my business to mind yours. It's my duty to correct you. Not to leave you doing whatever you want. No. Because Allah will destroy all of us then. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he swore by the token of time. And he said, man is in great loss. إلا الذين آمنوا, except those who believe and do righteous deeds. وتواصوا, and they advise each other. You advise me, I advise you. The action is mutual, reciprocal. So to say Allah only will judge, no. Yes, Allah will judge, that's in the day of resurrection. But Allah said what you are doing is haram. And Allah commanded us to stop you from this. especially when you are disclosing your sins in public and airing your dirty linen. If you sin privately, no one will see that. But now you are coming in the open. That's not your right. And that is not your freedom. Because you are affecting me. You are affecting me. You are harming me. You are harming this little pure kid. He sees all this rubbish, all these evil scenes, and they are going and there staying in his mind. You have no right to do that, to harm others. You are harming us. Okay? If you do this behind doors, we don't see you. But to come in the open, you have no right. There is nothing called absolute freedom. No. Everyone's freedom is restricted and controlled. Because your freedom ends where mine begins. So don't trespass my boundary. Okay? Don't enter my territory. You have no right to confiscate my freedom and to harm me. That's not your right. I hope this is clear to the questioner.
Jazakumullahu khair. And the questioner would also like to know that in this case, how do we answer people who we are trying to advise and help while they are telling us that we are judging them, if we must remind them that the act is wrong?
So when we give here we have to have rahmah, mercy in our hearts towards the sinners. So when we advise them, we should not criticize them. We have to make them feel that out of love we are talking to them. So sugarcoat the advice so that it will be swallowed. Okay, so make the person feels that you care for him and you do this privately, not in public, in front of others. Take this person and advise him, and you take this sister and advise her. Okay, after telling her you are a Muslim, mashallah, and all that. Okay, make preambles. So now he or she is ready to listen. And then give this piece of advice. And if there is a small gift, you have this, okay, booklet, anything, something. So the person will feel that you do this out of love, not to just expose him or her. That's why the nasiha should not be in public, as we see on the net. Oh, this is for the sake of Allah. We have to tell the truth. That's not nasiha. That's not piece of advice. You are exposing the person. You are destroying him. Rahimallah Imam Shafi'i. May Allah have mercy on the soul of Imam Shafi'i. Rahimahullah, he said, تعهدني بنصحك بانفرادي وجنبني النصيحة في الجماعة فإن النصح بين الناس نوع من التوبيخ لا أرض السماع. What he meant, he said, rahimahullah, please keep advising me from time to time. But when we are alone, advise me. Tell me. you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. This is wrong. But when we are alone, وجنبني النصيحة في الجماعة. Please save me, okay, from your advice in public, in gathering. Don't advise me in front of people. No, don't do that. وجنبني النصيحة في الجماعة. Why? فإن النصح بين الناس نوع من التوبيخ لعرض الاستماع. Because advising me in public, in front of people, is a form of rebuking and reprimanding and belittling me, and I'm not ready to listen to that. This is what Imam Shafi'i said. So when you advise someone in privacy, privately, between you and him or between you and her. I hope this is clear.
Jazakumullahu khair. Our next question is asking, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. There are parents that have a mentality that divorced daughters are to be open to harm, and the family can abuse and curse at her, and they emotionally, mentally, financially and physically hurt her. And the sister is suffering to an extent that even for her basic needs it's difficult, and she gets emotional and hurt and tells her family her pain, and she cries to Allah stating her pain, and in her heart she feels like they should suffer too because she is suffering. And the questioner is asking, what is your advice on this situation that the sister should do?
Of course, this is totally haram. And this is actually, I think, came to the Muslims, especially maybe those who are, in certain part of Asia, because people are very sensitive if you mention the place. Okay, so to them, if a woman is divorced, it's a stigma, it's a sign of okay, something shameful. And maybe one who's a divorcee should not get married. Well, this is not Islamic. And this shows the ignorance of the Muslims. Okay. See the life of the Sahaba. Hafsa was divorced. Her father, Umar radiallahu anhu, he offered her to Abu Bakr. And he didn't accept. Then to another Sahabi. Later, the Prophet ﷺ proposed and married her. Sayyidina Abu Bakr came to Sayyidina Umar and said, "You got upset, right?" "Of course," he said. "I'm offering my daughter and you are not accepting." He said, "What stopped me from that one day I heard," and this shows the closeness between the Prophet ﷺ and Abu Bakr and how he knows the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ, he just mentioned, what did Hafsa do after her divorce? So I felt that he is thinking of marrying her. So it's normal. A woman will be divorced. Natural. The marital relationship didn't work. So now we should not punish the poor girl because she is a divorcee. This is jahiliyyah. This is total ignorance. It's haram. The parents are sinful. So they are punishing her. Oh, why did you get divorced? Subhanallah. Because they consider now she is a burden on them. So they have to torture her. No, it's totally haram. And that's why we need to educate Muslim communities, especially Asians community. They have this. The imams, they need to educate them. They need to address these social problems. My advice for the sister is the sabr, patience. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide her parents, and may Allah ease her situation, and may Allah grant her pious, righteous husband very soon. And
Ameen. Jazakumullahu khair. The question I would also like to know that in the case where the parents are cursing this daughter, are these curses accepted?
of course not. Allah will not accept anything from anyone against anyone if that what he is saying is wrong, unfair. Allah is just. Allah is just. So don't worry about what they are saying. Okay? Islam prohibited, and Islam prohibits the dhulm, injustice. Muslims should not wrong anyone, even if he is a non-Muslim. Don't you know that when the Prophet ﷺ, he sent Sayyidina Mu'adh to Yemen, he warned him. He warned him, and he told him, وَاتَّقِي دَعْوَةَ الْمَظْلُومِ. O Mu'adh, be careful that you wrong people, and be aware and fear the supplication and the call of the one who's oppressed. His supplication, his invocation, his call, his da'wah, dua, will rise and go up to the sky to Allah like a spark. Yes, and Allah will respond to the call of that one who is oppressed. So we have to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this sister, what inshallah will soothe your heart and allay your fears and your suffering is the dua and prayer at night to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is a test. Allah loves you and He is raising your ranks and degrees in Jannah. And also it is an expiation for the sins. So it is win-win. May Allah strengthen your iman. Ameen. Next.
Ameen. Jazakumullahu khair. Our next question is asking, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
If a woman had to complete the 15 days to make a ghusl as she has not seen the sign of purity, should she perform ghusl at Maghrib or at Asr time of the 15th day?
So normally she sees the sign of purity after 15 days, or she doesn't see it at all.
It says here that she has not seen the sign of purity.
Okay, so Rahimullah Sheikh ibn Uthaymeen, Rahimullah ta'ala. He said, Sheikh ibn Uthaymeen said, this issue, natural bloods of women, he said, this is an ocean. Anyway, there are different scenarios, different cases. If a woman, of course, she has a regular period, number of days, she knows that and she follows it. And she sees the sign of purity, she has to follow that. And the sign of purity that now the uterus is clean and no blood is coming out, and it will be only whitish fluid. That's why the women at the time of Aisha radiallahu anha, they would send to her cottons soaked with fluids, telling her, am I clean? Am I clean? Can I start praying? And she would tell them, wait until you see the fluid just as white as silver. So when she sees this white sign, then she can pray. Some women, they don't see this, but they become dry. So that is your sign. Some women, they have continuous bleeding. From the moment she reached the age of puberty as a girl, she's bleeding. What to do in this case? So the ulama, they say, we should treat her like her mother and like her sisters. She should ask them, how many days do you leave the salah for your period? Because you have a regular menstrual cycle. 5 days, 6 days, 7 days. Then she followed them. Now, a woman, there's another scenario. Her period was regular, 7 days, 6 days, and now it prolonged. Bleeding increased. So she has to leave the salah until the bleeding stops. Maximum 15 days. If it didn't stop, then she has to start praying. If the color of the blood changed, and now it is not the blood of the menses, which is blackish and have bad smell, that's different, then she can also consider that as a sign for her. Now, if she, for 15 days and the blood is still there, then she had to take a shower and start praying. And the day in Arabic, because we follow the lunar calendar, the day starts with the sunset. Okay, so the second day will start at sunset. When the sun sets, a new day will begin, not when the sun rises. Okay, so now the 15th day will end at Maghrib time, because the 16th will start. I hope this is clear to the questioner.
Jazakum Allahu khair. It looks like we only have one question left today. The questioner has sent a small part of a hadith, and they would like you to explain it to them, where it says, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Paradise is for him who holds the reins of his horse, striving in Allah's cause, with his hair unkempt and feet covered with dust. If he is appointed to the vanguard, he is perfectly satisfied with his post of guarding, and if he is appointed in the rear guard, he accepts his post with satisfaction. If he asks for permission, he is not permitted, and if he intercedes, his intercession is not accepted."
Yeah, the Prophet ﷺ here, he's describing this mujahid who is in the jihad. And he doesn't mind wherever he's placed, whether he's in the rear, whether he's in the right, or the left, or the front. Wherever you put him, he will fight. And he is content. And he will not say, why you put me to the commander, why you put me here or there. He's obedient because his intention is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to defend the deen. Then the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that this person, though he is in Allah's sight so dear, be people, because he is not from, for example, the elite or noble class or known families. He is a poor fellow. So if he intercedes, people will not accept his intercession. If he proposed the same thing. So here the Prophet ﷺ is telling us that how people will judge things the wrong way. Though that this person in Allah's sight is better than many others. Okay. So the رب أشعث أغبر ذي طمرين مدفوع بالأبواب لو أقسم على الله لا برا. The Prophet ﷺ said, maybe, perhaps, a person with shabby clothes, people they close their doors in front of him, people they don't invite him. But if he asks Allah, Allah will accept his dua. Allah will accept his supplications. And when we read in our history and the stories of the Salaf, that I think Abdullah ibn Mubarak or somebody else, he said, people they pray for rains, and no rain came. The rain didn't fall. Then I saw this slave boy man came, very weak one, and he raised his hands, and immediately the rain fell, started raining. So I followed him, and I saw the house and which he went to. The next day, I went to that house and I knocked. So the master came out. So he sells slaves. And by the way, slavery was practiced before Islam. Islam came with the solution for it. That's why nowadays we don't have slaves, because Islam provided the solution and slavery vanished. Anyway, so the owner, this master came out and said, what do you want? He said, I want to buy slaves. So he showed him all those strong ones. He said, no, I don't want that. So the master said, there is one, but he is weak. He cannot help you. He cannot do anything for you. He said, let me see him. So he recognized him, said, this is the one I want to emancipate. I want to set free. Give me this one. He said, no, this is a blessed soul. He said, no, this is the one. Anyway, he got that man, and then when he left with that slave, he told him, he asked him, why did you pick me up? He told him this story. So he prayed to Allah to catch his soul, to die. He didn't want people to recognize him that he is this and that, etc. The same thing Sayyidina La ilaha illallah. Shall I remember his name? He came from Yemen. The Prophet ﷺ said, Uwais al-Qarni, yes, Uwais al-Qarni radiallahu anhu. So he said to the Sahaba, there is a man in Yemen, his name is Uwais al-Qarni. Okay. So when he comes and you see him, ask him to pray for you. And Sayyidina Umar was always asking, whenever a group of people came from Yemen, he would ask them, do you have Uwais among you? Say no. Until delegation came and Uwais was among them. So Sayyidina Umar asked him, are you Uwais? Yes. He said, you were dutiful and kind to your mother, and then you have a skin disease and it is cured, except a small spot. He said, yes. He said, pray for me, because my prophet told me that when you see Uwais, ask him to make dua for you. He prayed for him. Then he said, where do you want to go? He said, I want to go to Iraq. He said, do you want me to write to the governor, okay, to provide for you good place, things like that, so that you will be respected. It's no, 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 no. Don't write to the governor. Just I want to live among the people. I don't want to be recognized. So this is the ikhlas. So the hadith talks about those who are very sincere. So this mujahid was sincere, and so he didn't care, and he doesn't care wherever you place him and whatever you say about him, because he works for Allah, and Allah knows this person, and he is dear to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and his reward he's going to receive from Allah. And this is the ikhlas, this is the sincerity. I hope this is clear to the questioner.
Jazakumullahu khair. I've got another question. And the questioner would like to know.
This will be the last one, inshallah.
Okay, final question, inshallah. Our final question for today would like to know how we should tackle a situation where there is a person who believes that the entire Quran is a metaphor. None of it is literal. They believe the entire thing is metaphorical. So the question would like to know how should we approach the situation, in which case, Sheikh, if you could also mention between both someone who has read the entire Quran and someone who hasn't, someone who lacks the knowledge as well. Jazakumullahu khair.
This person is ignorant, no doubt. Ignorant. Because to say that the Quran is full of metaphors, this is how the Batiniya, deviant sect, okay, they interpret the Quran differently. For example, they say, Inna Allah ya'murukum an tadhbahu baqarah, Allah commands you to slay a cow. They say Aisha, the cow. Okay. And before we explain further, you have to understand one thing, how people communicate. When we communicate, we use the language. So what's the language? Words, vocabularies. What are these words? These words are linked to objects. Pen, this is the pen. That word linked to this one. Tree, this is the tree. Car, this is the car. Elephant, this is the elephant. So the words are linked to objects. And normally the objects will exist first, then you put the name for them. And the name like the label, like a sticker. So the words actually, they are linked to realities, to things exist. Lion is the animal. So when we communicate, we use these words which are formed and used for real things. In other words, the speech, when we talk, has to be taken literally and in the real sense, not in the metaphoric sense. If I tell you, I'm going to meet you at 7 o'clock, what do you understand? 7 o'clock or 9 o'clock? Of course, 7. What do you understand? Who's going to meet you? I or my brother? Of course, I'm the one who's going to meet you. Because I told you, I'm going to meet you at this time in this place. If you understand, oh, he said 7 o'clock, oh, he meant 9. Or he said, he's going to meet me. No, he meant his brother. Then it will be chaos. We'll not be able to communicate at all with each other. So the words they convey meanings, and they have to be understood literally in the real sense. We only render them and understand them metaphorically when the structure of the sentence, the syntax, has keywords indicate that here the sentence cannot be understood literally and should not be taken literally. It should be rather understood metaphorically. For example, if I say, I saw a lion today, period. What do you understand? Lion, the animal. I saw a lion roaming around. Again, the animal. But if I tell you, I met a lion today, and you had a cup of tea, okay, and he was nice, and so cup of tea, nice. We had a chat. Oh, these are key words. So you know I'm talking metaphorically. I'm talking about a man who is as brave as the lion. And these keywords are called in Arabic qarina, the context. In the absence of these keywords or context, the text has to be understood literally and not metaphorically. Allah says in the Quran, وَإِلَهُكُمْ إِلَهٌ وَاحِدٌ. Your God is one. What do you understand? God is three? Or God is one? What do you understand? God is one. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ اللَّهُ الصَّمَدُ. What do you understand? What Allah said. So anyone says, here we have to understand it metaphorically. We tell him, where is the qarina? Where's the qarina? Where's the keyword? Where's the context? Where's this independent evidence that we can use that tells us that the text has to be understood metaphorically? Where is it? And that's why they say the types of qarina can be rational, okay, or it can be linguistic, or it can be conventional according to the urf. It depends. قرينة عقلية, for example, واسأل القرية التي كنا فيها والعيرة التي أقبلنا فيها. So ask the village in Surah Yusuf, and ask the caravan. What does it mean? Ask the caravan. You want me to ask the camels? The horses? Ask the village, the dwellings? Or ask the people of the village and the people in the caravan, the owners of the caravan? That's the meaning. And this is a pattern of speech in Arabic. The Arabs, they omit something. Okay. So they are saying, As'al al-Qariya, that means ask the people. It is known. That's how the Arabs talk. An Arab poet before Islam, and his poem is one of the mu'allaqat, the 10 poems that were known in the Arabic poetry. His name is Antar bin Shaddad, or Antar ibn Shaddad. He said in one of his verse of his famous poem, addressing and talking to his cousin, a female cousin, Abla. So he'd say, هلا سألت الخيل يا ابنة مالك إن كنت جاهلة بما لم تعلمي. Did you ask the horses about me if you don't know me, if you don't know your cousin? هلا سألت الخيل يا ابنة مالك. Why didn't you ask the horses about me? إن كنت جاهلة بما لم تعلمي. You are not aware about me. You don't know my bravery. You don't know your cousin. Ask the horses. What did he mean, ask the horses? He meant ask the horsemen. Ask the horsemen, the fighters, they tell you. يخبرك من شهد الوقيعة أنني أغشى الوغى وأعف عند المغنم. Ask them. يخبرك, those who attended the battle would tell you. من شهد الوقيعة, the battle. يخبرك من شهد الوقيعة أنني أغشى الوغى. I fly and I go and enter the circle of death and I jump over my enemies. أغشى الوغى. وغى means the battle, the fight. وأعف and I refrain عند المغنم, and I refrain from the spoils, the booty. When they are distributing the spoils, I refrain, I leave them. So here he's saying, ask the horses, means the horsemen, and that is omitted. This is known in Arabic. So this can be the qarina. Not you ask the horses, because rationally you don't ask the horses. Or it can be conventional, the qarina, the keyword. Like Fir'aun said, Ya Haman ibn li sarha. O Haman, construct for me a lofty building, high building. So I will climb and look for the Moses God. So here Fir'aun, he issued the command to his minister, Haman. Ibn li, build for me. Who's going to build, Haman or the mercenaries? The laborers? Of course, the laborers or the masons. The masons. Not Haman himself is going to take the bricks and start building. But the meaning, O Haman, instruct those who can build for me a high building. So the key word here, it is the convention, the urf, the norm that the minister will not. Like, for example, the ruler tells the housing minister, we will build a city here. Of course, not the housing minister of housing is going to do that. No. He will, a company will come and start constructing houses. Or it can be sometimes the qarina shar'iyya in the text itself. For example, the Prophet ﷺ said, "Sallu qabla al-maghrib, sallu qabla al-maghrib, sallu qabla al-maghrib." Then he said, "Liman sha." Pray before the maghrib, pray before the maghrib, pray before the maghrib, and then he said, "If you wish, if you want." Had the Prophet ﷺ not mentioned this word, "Liman sha," then the sunnah, the 2 rak'ahs after the adhan of maghrib and before the salah will become obligatory, mandatory. But he said liman sha, that means it is only recommended. This is the qarina. Otherwise, it will become wajib. But in the absence of the qarina, the context, indicating a word that indicates that the text here should be rendered metaphorically rather than literally, in the absence of that, the text has to be understood literally and should be taken in the real sense. I hope this is clear to everyone, and be careful when you hear people talking like that. Say, what is the qarina, so that you render the text metaphorically. No qarina has to be taken literally. I hope this is clear to everyone.
Jazakumullahu khair. That brings us to the end of today's session, Sheikh. For those of you who are watching, I just wanted to quickly mention that that these episodes, the Fundamentals of Tawheed episodes, are on the YouTube channel playlist. I wanted to mention that again in case anyone couldn't find any episodes. They're all there compiled, so you'll be able to find them there, inshallah. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow at 1:30 for the Matters of the Heart session as well. And those are also, the previous episodes are also on the playlist. If you have missed some episodes, you can go and catch up. And Sheikh, I just wanted to quickly ask if you could make dua for this sister who's had her child taken by the authorities into care due to the family creating difficulties for her and her child. This person commenting is asking if you can make some dua for her. She's fighting to get her child back. Jazakumullahu khair.
May Allah bring her back, bring her child back to her. May Allah protect Muslim children from all evils. Ameen.
Ameen. Jazakumullah khair, Sheikh Salim. And inshallah, we look forward to having a wonderful session with you tomorrow. And I'll be bringing some interesting topics for us to break down for the public as well, especially because you mentioned the children. There are a lot of challenges. May Allah help all our Muslim parents out there with all their challenges. Ameen. And if you, brothers and sisters, please realize that those people that need people like Sheikh Salim and us to talk to them and help them, they will never reach us because you do not share with them. You need to share these links and invite people, because there are so many people calling and asking questions about things that they should have studied and attended these lessons for years. And they're expecting an answer to make sense in one day. It doesn't. And it's very difficult for someone like Sheikh Salim or myself to give a solution in one spoon feed of medicine. So may Allah bless you, Sheikh Salim. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow. But for now, last final words are with you, beloved Sheikh.
May Allah bless you. May Allah protect you, protect your family, and may Allah protect all Muslim families all over the world, wherever they are. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect our family and protect our ummah. Ameen. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us remain steadfast in this beautiful deen till we meet Allah and find Him pleased with all of us. Ameen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us our faults and mistakes and ignorance. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevate your status in this world and in Jannatul Na'im. Ameen. Until we meet inshallah tomorrow, I leave you in Allah's company and protection. Bihifdillahi wa rahayatihi. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khair, Sheikh Salim. Brothers and sisters, fantastic announcements I have for you today. Is this going through? We've got a lot happening. If you want to support the dawah, make a donation today. Just pledge any amount you wish to give on a monthly basis, regular basis, or even as a one-off, but do it now. Send that text across now while the iman is up, before shaitan distracts us and makes our dunya more important than our akhirah, which is quite often, sadly. Lastly, please make sure you share this link. Anyone who wants to watch the previous videos, please get a hold of us. We'll help you with them, inshallah. Take notes, write stuff down, ask questions, engage. Make this your life. This should be your full-time life. Seeking knowledge, getting closer to Allah, and the dunya, the job, the school, the education, all that stuff should be secondary. May Allah Azza wa Jal bless you all. We have one Eid festivals happening in all the parks. South Hall Park, Harrow Park, East London Goodmace Park, Luton Park, Stockwood Park, and Wardown Park. And of course we've got the ones up north in other cities, and we've got one in Bristol as well. Many places, mashallah, tabarakallah. That could be your sadaqah jariyah. Hundreds of thousands of people praying Eid Salah how they should. All you need to do is make a small contribution towards the prayer masala, towards the tarpaulin we put on the ground, towards the sound system that Abdurrahman is just now purchasing, mashallah, tabarakallah. Everyone complained about our sounds being cheap and not loud enough or cutting out, fair enough. And they've put, mashallah, they've made a lot of effort and they've bought very high-end sound equipment because funds are very tight, guys. But it's not tight. We have the money. It's in your pockets. We have the money to buy everything we need, but it's in your pockets. It's in our families, our parents, our relatives, our friends. I will never be able to reach the people you know, so you need to also ask others to donate. So the sound system's coming up to roughly about £2,500, and that's a really good deal for what we're getting, and it's being spread over 4 parks. That's 4 different sites. So your sadaqah of £100, £1,000, whatever you give, will carry the imam's qira'at, will carry the imam's takbirat, throughout the jama'ah, thousands and thousands of people in the park who pray Eid Salah. And it'll happen twice a year, every Eid, every year, for life. So, mashallah, if anyone wants the Sadaqah Jariyah, dude, sign up now. What are you waiting for? So we'll see you tomorrow, inshallah, at 1:30, same time, same da'wah channel. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
سبيل الدموع سبيل مريح